A blackboard eraser going 108 kilometers an hour. At this time, it is less than 10 centimeters away from your door. But in your eyes, it is as slow as still in the air. You're not doing anything superfluous. It's just a small tilt to the neck. The blackboard eraser almost flies past your pinna. The whole class was in an uproar. Teacher Wang was stunned. His flying board erasing stung. I actually missed it today. At the same time, you are also confused. The feeling just now was too weak, and the chalk that Teacher Wang then drew, it is easily clamped by you with 2 fingers. Everyone was shocked. The whole process. You are relaxed. Your heart is like being struck by lightning. Everything around us has become too slow. Come to your senses. Fragments of memories from past lives flooded into my mind. The bright lights of the huge fighting arena, the cold touch of the octagonal cage iron mesh, the coach roared wildly on the sidelines. And the last game, and the endless darkness of the hospital bed. You were born again, and obtained an incredible neural reaction speed that exceeded the limits of human beings. Seeing that Teacher Wang was about to rush over to teach him a lesson, running without even thinking about it, rushing out of the classroom, all the way. You find a quiet place to digest it all. The first is vision. The whole world seems to have become a slow-motion movie with a super high frame rate. Then comes hearing. Cars honking, hawkers, honking. All voices are no longer mixed. It becomes layered. Then you get touch. You touch a brick wall. You touch a brick wall. He felt every tiny grain of sand under his fingertips. And finally, physical coordination. You put on a standard fighting stance. Then slide, flicker, shake and dive. The technical movements engraved into the bone marrow in the previous life were perfectly reproduced, not beyond. You take a breath of relief. I can no longer suppress the ecstasy in my heart. It's true, everything is true. Your reaction speed has exceeded the limit of human beings. This horse is your golden finger. A clear thought is etched deep in your soul. Octagonal cage. UFC champion. In this life, I want to climb to the top. You immediately come to Zhenwei Martial Arts Hall. A dozen strong men were sweating profusely. You look out of place in your school uniform. The burly man with a board inch came to ask, "Classmate, who to find the coach? I want to learn to fight." Your voice is unusually firm. Can I practice my hands now? Zhang Lei was a little surprised. Classmate, this is no joke. You know it's useless to talk too much. He walked through a sandbag. After just a few punches, the memories of his previous life were quickly revived. The jab is fast and precise. The backhand punches with smooth force. Movement standards are like textbooks, although the strength is insufficient. But that sense of rhythm made Zhang Lei's eyes change slightly. Boy, unlike a novice. Let's try target shooting. Zhang Lei became interested. Pick up a pair of handlebars. He just pulled out his handle. There was a crisp explosion. Your left fist has accurately hit the bullseye. Zhang Lei was startled. Then they speed up. The left and right handlebars alternating in rhythm and direction. The crisp sound of knocking spread. The people around looked over curiously. They were shocked to find, no matter how fast Coach Zhang's handle is, this tall and thin boy can always hit the bullseye with every punch. He seems to be able to anticipate the coach's target position in advance. Zhang Lei was no longer surprised. There was shock, and he stops, shaking his numb wrist. Boy, have you practiced before? I have practiced blindly. Can home practice be like this? Zhang Lei obviously didn't believe it. Go on stage and put on protective gear. Let's go through the tricks. This is the true test. You say nothing. Take off your school jacket. He rolled over into the ring. Are you ready? I'm coming. Zhang Lei reminded him in a deep voice. A tentative left jab came in. In your eyes, this fast punch seemed to be slow. You tilt your head slightly. Fist brushed against your cheek. Then Zhang Lei followed with a straight punch. Your body dived slightly. Easily dodged again. At the same time, your left hand gently patted Zhang Lei's exposed ribs, although it has no power. But the grasp of this timing and location made Zhang Lei's heart freeze. Zhang Lei did not believe in evil. He increased the frequency of his attacks. Combination punches, low sweeps, take turns to go into battle. The scene on the ring became strange. Zhang Lei's fists and feet are like the wind. Tiger and tiger are prosperous. And the thin you are like a fallen leaf, flickering and moving. Dangerously, dodge all attacks. Zhang Lei can even feel the fist wind brushing against your skin. But I just can't touch you. What made his scalp even more numb was, you can not only hide, he can also use precise counterattacks in his defensive gaps again and again. When dodging, the more you fight, the more you engage. After a nice side flat, your back punch gently stopped 1 centimeter in front of Zhang Lei's chin. Zhang Lei's double trembled as the fist wind blew. Zhang Lei's hair stood on end. After taking a step back, he raised his hand to stop him. Take off your helmet. Take off your helmet. My heart has already been turned upside down. This kid's reaction, this consciousness, simply a monster. This actual battle also made you completely confirmed. Super God response, plus the top technical framework of the previous life. It means you have the ultimate weapon to climb the peak of fighting. Although this body is thin, but that's okay. Strength can be practiced. Physical fitness can be practiced. And the super God level reaction speed, no one can practice it. UFC gold belt. Lo Tzu and Shuo came. The only thing left to do now is to train. The next day, Zhenwei Martial Arts Hall. Coach Zhang Lei has become much more enthusiastic when he sees you. Your tone is unmistakable. I need strength training, physical training. There are actual confrontations. I hope you can help me arrange a few actual opponents. Zhang Lei remembered your performance in the ring yesterday. Sense of excitement as both surged into my heart. Good boy, have ambition. Okay, the training plan is on me. You can use the managed equipment at will. I'll take you personally. After a pause, he lowered his voice again, with a hint of mystery and excitement. By the way, boy, do you want to play something more exciting? There's an underground fighting tournament in the city next weekend, in an abandoned factory in the southern suburbs. Although, not formal. But, the bonus is good. If you win a game, you can get 2,000 US. The opponents are gym coaches, bodyguards, veterans, or something. With your skills yesterday, it's absolutely no problem to play. Dare to fight. This is just what you need right now. Time and place. Tell me, and I'll go. Good seed. Zhang Lei was even happier. According to your physical condition, Zhang Lei's training plan for you is Monday's heavyweight strength training day. Squats, bench presses, and so it goes back and forth. Squeeze every ounce of your strength Tuesday. Explosive power and speed training day. Drop the ball. God of War. Box jump. Let you feel like your heart is about to jump out of your chest Wednesday core and endurance training day. Flank, support, hurling, long distance running. Challenge the limits of your willpower Thursday and Friday are skill and reaction training. Target shooting, movement, accuracy, and actual combat. The weekend is a break and the upcoming actual combat. You go into it with an almost masochistic mania. Your self-discipline has attracted the attention of the entire martial arts hall. In just 1 week, your body undergoes some remarkable changes, although the weight did not increase much. But the muscle lines become clearer and firmer. And here's the thing, your strength and endurance have been significantly improved. Saturday night, the third abandoned cement factory in the southern suburbs. In the center of the huge factory building, a simple square arena was surrounded by thick hemp rope. Hundreds of men of various faces surrounded the ring, shouting for bats. The atmosphere was wild and wild. A thin but well-defined body stood in the center of the ring. Boy, hurry up and go home and do your homework. This is not for your thin arms and legs. Are you here to send money? You are deaf to these noises. His eyes were as calm as water, scanning the entire venue. That's where you start. The most primitive, crude, and authentic battle. Your blood starts to boil slightly. Zhang Lei patted your shoulder. His face was solemn. Doing pre-game instructions. Don't be nervous. Remember what I told you. Use your speed and distance to control it. Don't fight him hard. You nodded. His eyes were still firm. Also, your opponent quickly determines what is nearly 1.9 meters tall. Strong man weighing at least 90 kg. He has a hideous bald head, a green leopard tattooed over the shoulder on his left arm, with fierce eyes. Everyone around him called him Brother Bao. It is said that he is the ace bodyguard of a famous nightclub in the city. Fighting is notoriously ruthless. The odds are coming out soon. Brother Bao is 1 to 1.3. 1 to 5. With Shu, the odds are huge. Huge, poor body shape. Brother Bao was very disdainful. Boy, it's too late to regret now. Don't cry for mom later. You didn't say anything. Just look at him quietly. His eyes were like looking at a dead object. A harsh gong sounded. Here we go. Brother Bao did not have the slightest temptation. After a roar, he rushed over directly. The huge fist swung round, hit you hard on the head. The audience below the stage let out a burst of excited exclamations. It seemed to have foreseen the bloody scene where the skinny kid would be punched. However, the next second, everyone's eyes widened. I saw that your body only swayed slightly to the left. An incredibly small side flash. Brother Bao's fist almost rubbed the tip of your nose and waved it over. The bangs couldn't help but beat. 1 blow fails. Brother Bao was a little surprised, but immediately followed by a right uppercut. You leaned back a little. Edley dodged again. In the next 30 seconds, there was a scene on the ring that made everyone dumbfounded. Brother Bao is like a madman. Unleashed a stormy onslaught. Swing. Straight. Uppercut. A punch is heavier than a punch. The air word. And you are like a ghost. Minimal flicker. Minimum dive. Minimum shake. Minimum retreat. Defuse all the attacks of Brother Leopard one by one. Brother Bo felt like he was going crazy, obviously about to hit. But the other party is like a slippery loach. He can always slip away at the last moment when he punches. You are a bit insulting. Everyone in the audience was dumbfounded. This is no longer a fight. This is art. It's a joke. Zhang Lei stood under the stage. His eyes sparkled with an incomparably hot light. I found a treasure this time. The gong sounded at the end of the first round. Brother Leopard is panting like an ox, sweating profusely. His onslaught just now consumed a lot of stamina, and you're breathing smoothly. There wasn't even a drop of sweat on his forehead. The second round of the gong sounded again. Brother Leopard roared, pounced on again. I saw him swing his right fist with all his strength. His movements become slower in your supernatural response. The flows are also clearer. Right now. Facing Brother Bo. The moment the door of the middle road opened wide, you moved. You stopped dodging. Instead, he took half a step forward in the face of the opponent's attack. The body sank slightly. Twist the waist. Heave hips. Punch. All the power condensed on the right fist in an instant. This is not a blow to the head. It was a sharp, lightning-fast uppercut. The target is the right subcostal liver area of Brother Ball. There was a muffled bang. Your fist hit the target accurately. In the next second, Brother Bao's face twisted, veins burst. An irresistible pain like an electric shock instantly spread throughout his body from his liver area. After Brother Bao snorted in pain, his legs went limp, kneeling on the ground like a puddle of mud. His hands died. The dead man covered his right rib. The body curled up into a ball. One hit. Just one hit. A precise liver blow. There was a deathly silence. Everyone seemed to be choked. He stared blankly at the skinny teenager who was still maintaining his punching posture in the ring. A few seconds later, the tsunami-like exclamations and screams broke out. Damn it. KO. One punch. Just one punch. Where the hell was it? Why is it so powerful? In the ring, you slowly retracted your fist. He calmly glanced at Brother Leper, who was twitching on the ground. There was no joy of victory on his face. For you, this is just the simplest test. Coach, I'm done. Zhang Lei trembled with excitement. Good boy, good boy, good boy. You are a genius. That night, you received a $2,000 cash prize. There is also a temporary nickname Kung Fu. The boy doesn't like this nickname very much. Isn't this Song Yedong's nickname? Besides, where was his fighting skill related to Kung Fu? The next day at Zhenwei Martial Arts Hall, your status has also undergone earth-shaking changes. Everyone looks at you differently. No one will treat you like a skinny high school student anymore. Even Zhang Lei is more attentive when guiding you. He almost gave away everything he had pressed into the bottom of the box. From Sanda's fist and leg combination, to the inner circle of Muay Thai, to some simple wrestling and ground defense techniques. And your learning ability refreshes Zhang Lei's cognition again. Any technical movement, Zhang Lei only needs to demonstrate it once. You can imitate it almost indistinguishable. No matter what Zhang Lei teaches, you can immediately master it. Draw inferences from one another. Offer your own opinion. Zhang Lei often has an illusion. He didn't feel like he was teaching a student. I was having a conversation with a seasoned colleague. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed. You have also ushered in your second actual match. Inside the inner boxing gym of a large health club, a retired boxer nicknamed Iron Fist stands opposite you. Many people think your erratic movements. In front of experienced pure boxers, you will be greatly restrained. So here we go. You follow the strategy you used against Brother Leper. There was no rush to attack, but with light feet, they circle around their opponent, constantly harassing and distance testing with jabs. Iron Fist lived up to its reputation. His defense is extremely tight. The chin is well closed. Secure your head and ribs with your arms. Unmoved by your jab. He was like a patient tiger, waiting for the moment when you break into his effective strike range. The opportunity arose in the second round. After you shake again, suddenly an accelerated forward charge. He threw a straight backhand punch that seemed to be strong and heavy. This was a long-planned lure. A golden light flashed in the eyes of the Iron Fist. A standard shake motion. Isali dodged your straight punch. At the same time, his right fist had come out of his ribs. Straight to your chin. Straight to your chin. The audience below the stage exclaimed, "This is a textbook defensive counter." However, something unexpected happened. The moment your backhand straight punch hits, there was a tiny downward movement of the wrist. His fist flew over the top of his Iron Fist, and the center of gravity of your entire body suddenly sinks downward. It was a perfect dive. Not only did he escape the deadly welcome punch, he even sneaked into his opponent's arms, not waiting for the Iron Fist to react. Your body has become entangled like a python. I saw your arms wrapped around your opponent's waist and shoulders. I hit it hard. A standard dive and hook. The strong Iron Fist was picked up by you. It fell heavily on the floor mat. Then, you quickly occupied a position of lateral suppression. You didn't choose to hit with a ground fist. But the moment the opponent struggles to get up, locked the opponent's neck. Guillotine, your arm muscles tightened in an instant. The powerful strangulation force made Iron Fist's face instantly swell into a pig liver color. After a few seconds, he slapped the floor mat, desperately, signal to admit defeat. There was silence. Everyone was stunned. This little Nyan is not just a stand-up master. He is a true mixed martial arts fighter. The host took the microphone and jumped onto the ring excitedly. It's unbelievable. Perfect tactics. Perfect tactics, from standing to the ground. Our Kung Fu kid showed us what it means to be a comprehensive technique. He is like the mythical and omnipotent monkey having great sage. Let's cheer his name Kung Fu Great Sage together. Kung Fu, Great Saint. The audience below the stage was ignited by this very Chinese nickname. He began to scream wildly. From this day forward, the childish title of Kung Fu Kid was replaced by Kung Fu Great Sage. Although you still don't like it. But it's better than Kung Fu Kid. And over the next 2 months, you have become the brightest star in the city's underground fighting circle. I played 4 games in a row at an average frequency of 1 every half a month. Although the opponent's style varies, each has its own characteristics. But in the end, you can't escape the fate of being cowed out or surrendered by you. 6 victories. 6 endings. 4 of them, KO, take it twice. The scariest thing is, according to the rough statistics of the audience at the scene, in these 6 games, You have been effectively hit 0 times. The name of Kung Fu Great Saint Genshuo is no longer limited to this city. Your name began to circulate in the fighting circles of the surrounding provinces and cities. 3 months. You have a share, although the gold content is not high, but a highly visually striking record videotape. The chips are ready to go to the United States. It's time to go. In the martial arts hall, I learned that you are about to go to the United States. Everyone is here to see you off. Zhang Lei pulls you aside, hands you a USB stick. Boy, this is the most high-definition edited version of your 6 games. I got a professional to do it, with music and slow-motion playback. Definitely bluffing. Don't give it to us when you get there. Men, the Chinese are humiliated. Remember, no matter how high you fly, this will always be your first home. You nodded heavily. I gave him a strong hug. Coach, thank you, thank you. After a dozen hours. When the plane landed at San Francisco International Airport, you have finally set foot on a land that is both foreign and familiar to you. After a few days of settling in, you come to the door of a building. A black sign hung on the door. It says, AKA American Kickboxing Academy in simple white lettering. American Kickboxing Academy. One of the top halls of mixed martial arts in the world. Here came a series of champions such as Cain Velasquez, Daniel Cormier, Luke Lockholder, and others. And in your previous life, in the coming years, here will also become a place from Dagestan, Russia. The training base for a man named Habib. He will start from here. Unlock your own undefeated legend. AKA is famous for its brutal training intensity and top-notch wrestling system. This is precisely why you have chosen this place. Combat power, strikes combined with super god reaction, are top-notch enough. But, you know, in his previous life, it was precisely because of his relatively weak skills in wrestling and ground. It is especially difficult to fight against top wrestlers. In this life, you must make up your greatest weakness from the very beginning into your strongest shield. He took a deep breath. Open the door to destiny. A heat wave mixed with sweat, disinfectant and male hormones hit the face. The crisp sound of blows came one after another. Formed a very powerful symphony. Deeper areas of decline. Dozens of burly men were rolling and wrestling there. The innermost is a standard octagonal cage. Several professional players were engaged in intense combat training. Their movements, attacks, and defenses exude a deadly sense of oppression. Your gaze swept across the audience like a radar. Suddenly, your pupils constrict slightly. You see in the corner of the decline zone, a man is throwing his opponent to the ground again and again. He is the future lightweight undefeated King Khabib. The current Khabib has played 2 games at UFC, but it is far from the well-known dominance of later generations. In another corner, you also saw future middleweight champion Luke Lockwood. These legendary figures, who once only existed on the screen and in memory, they all appeared alive at this moment. In front of your eyes. In front of your eyes. This is the cradle of champions. Your heart is beating with excitement. You've come to the right place. Take a deep breath. You walk towards a middle-aged man with a mustache. Javier Mendes, the founder and head coach of 8, one of the world's top MMA coaches. Hello, sir. I am a mixed martial arts fighter. I want to join a K. Saying that, you handed out your USB flash drive. Javier was stunned for a moment, immediately laughed. Asian faces are rare in top MMA boxing clubs. Child, do you know what this place is? The training here could cost you your life. I know. That's why I'm here. Your age-appropriate calmness and confidence. Let Javier have a hint of curiosity. He waved to an assistant not far away. Hand over the USB stick. Check it out. After a few minutes, the assistant came back with the laptop, with a strange expression on his face. Avel couldn't help but move closer. In the picture, the skinny teenager is facing an opponent who is much stronger than himself. Displayed an incredible evasive ability. He moves like a ghost. The opponent's heavy punch was like hitting the phantom, and his counterattack was precise and efficient. Every shot hits the key. One punch KO bodyguard. Subdue retired boxing champion. High sweep kick feints send the champion end screen after scene. With passionate music and just the right slow motion, it has a great visual impact. Javier's expression gradually became serious. In the end, it was even a little dignified. He knew they were amateurs, but he is looking at you. That sense of distance has been integrated into the instinct. That kind of incredible reaction speed. That age-old calmness and tactical execution. You can't teach this stuff. It's a gift. It was a gift from God. Turn off video. Frequency. He looks at you. His eyes have completely changed. The video is good, but videos can be deceiving. You want to join us? You have to prove that you are stronger than in the video. Saying that, Javier pointed to the octagonal cage. Your heart is overjoyed. There is a play. After a few minutes, you are in black shorts. Came out with a 16-ounce glove. The first test project is targeted. Holding the target for you is a senior Muay Thai coach from it. Play your combination with all your might. The coach was concise and comprehensive. You nod your head. No reply. His eyes became determined. Snap. A lightning-fast left jab, precisely exploding in the bullseye. Then, the backhand straight punch, left hook, right high sweep. A series of blows like flowing clouds, Quick, accurate, and ruthless. The target-holding coach's face changed instantly, although there is still a lack of strength. But the flow and the rhythm was absolutely superb. Avriel stood aside. He nodded in satisfaction. The technical foundation is very solid. There was no trace of a wild road. All right, next project. He waved at a professional player who was resting in the octagonal cage. Kyle plays with this kid. Stand up and attack. 3. Established. Kyle, a featherweight midfielder at the UFC. Known for his tough boxing and excellent resistance. He saw your skinny appearance. You grin. Obviously, he didn't take this sparring partner seriously. Inside the octagonal cage, the two touched their gloves. The battle began. Kyle didn't hold back. He directly used the rhythm of a professional player to initiate the pressure. His jab was fast and heavy, constantly testing your defenses. Something weird happened. Every time he punches, all are shaken by you with the smallest head. Easily dodge. The backhand punch he followed, without exception. It hit the air. Hey kid, you can't just hide. Kyle was a little annoyed. They escalated their attacks. A set of ferocious 1, 2, 3 combination punches, boom, towards your face. You are in no hurry, like a tumbler, leaning back, dodging the first 2 punches in an extreme iron bridge posture. At the moment of his third uppercut, your body jerks back. A backhand straight punch that is as fast as possible. It accurately clicked on Kyle's chin. The punch is not strong, extremely insulting. Kyle was dumbfounded. Javier's pupils on the sidelines instantly contracted into the tip of a needle. He could see the details on the field clearly, the moment you lean back and dodge. Without even blinking an eye, he was always locked onto Kyle. Action, this kid is anticipating. The moment Kyle punches, this kid has already gained insight into all subsequent attack routes. What a terrifying dynamic visual and neural response. 50% strength. Javier unknowingly increased the volume. Kyle's face became serious. They start treating you like an opponent. His attacks grew more ferocious. But nothing changed. You are like a bug, an existence that cannot be hit. And in between dodging all attacks, you also used various precise counterpunches to continuously leave marks on Kyle's face and body. Kyle's heart was hairy when he was hit. Alright, stop. Hoffel called off the one-sided play. Kyle stepped aside in embarrassment. His eyes were filled with shock and confusion. Javier's face became extremely excited. But he still needs one last test. Wrestling is a common shortcoming among Asian players. Habib, come here. Habib stopped training with some doubts. Coach, what's the matter? Javier points to you. Play around with this child. Habib looked at you. He nodded politely. The corners of your mouth are slightly warped. Are you going to have your first intimate contact with the future undefeated king so soon? Soon, the two stood in the middle of the octagonal cage. After Hoffel gave the order, Habib immediately dived. He pounced like a cheetah. He's always been quick and hard to throw. In a previous life, you faced a wrestler of this level. 8 times out of 10, it will be brought down directly. But now, as Habib's shoulders sank, your supernatural reaction has given the order. I see your legs retreating like springs. And extremely slow. Your upper body weighs heavily on Habib's back. For the first time, Habib's face showed an expression of surprise. His inevitable fall was actually prevented. And so near. He did not believe in evil. Quickly adjust your posture. Convert it to a one-leg fall, but your reaction is faster. Slicing like a loach. Instantly broke free from control. He stood up again. The next 2 minutes became Habib's personal ground offensive performance. Of course, it has also become your defensive show. Habib used his world-famous chain wrestling to attack again and again. Hug both legs, hug one leg, fall over the chest. But every time at the most critical moment, you used incredible speed and reaction to resolve it. Your anti-drop is no technical pure fast. Fast enough to destroy Habib's center of gravity and connection before he can complete his fall. The entire training hall became quiet. Everyone stopped their training and surrounded them. The scene in the octagonal cage made them unbelievable. Facing the slightly emaciated Chinese boy, the wrestling monster from Dagestan failed to complete a successful take for 2 minutes in a row. Javier Mendez's breathing had become extremely heavy. Found the treasure. I found a genius. A perfect jade with historical reaction speed and top fighting IQ. Jiggy McKay, top wrestling and strength system. He didn't dare to imagine where the upper limit of this child's future would be. Stop. Javier stopped. If he doesn't stop breathing, he won't be breathing enough. Children, welcome to join. Hey. You see the stunning stares of the top coach and the future world champions around him. You know, you bet, right? You have successfully taken the first step in this holy land of fighting. It is also the most crucial step. Of course, you know, being accepted into a KA Pro team is just the beginning. Coach Javier's statement that the training here could kill you is no joke. You need to put 100% of your time and energy into training. Your life becomes an ultimate Spartan penance. It's 5 in the morning. You have appeared in the physical training area of the boxing gym. Began a day of warm-up and basic strength training. The morning was a 2-hour wrestling and ground fighting class. The afternoon was 2 hours of stand-up strikes and actual combat. At night, when everyone dragged their tired bodies away, you will be left alone. Practice for an extra hour against sandbags or pair balls. More than 5 hours of intense training per day. It makes you feel like every cell in your body is burning and tearing. Then we regroup in a cave, without the tenderness of Mei Mai's teaching, only the most brutal laws of the jungle. You don't want to be eliminated. You have to face off against those beast teammates day after day. Although the super reaction can give you an advantage in combat power, but in ground fighting and wrestling, the role has been greatly weakened. Especially against a top wrestler like Khabib. Once entangled by him, it was like the death of a python rolling over. The huge gap in strength, technology, and experience let you fall suppressed and be surrendered again and again. Although Khabib's ground punches were all controlled, but the suffocation and powerlessness of being pressed under you is something you've never experienced in your entire life. During one training session, you were held down by Khabib for a full 5 minutes. He failed to stand up until the end of the round. Looking at the bright red blood that has been worn out on your forehead, the teammates all around thought that this reaction genius from China would soon be overwhelmed by this brutal training. But they were all wrong. You wiped the blood off your forehead without the slightest frustration or discouragement. Go to Khabib. You say thank you in some blunt Russian words. And he asks seriously, how did the center of gravity of the leg pressing you just now change? Khabib was stunned for a moment, looking at your pair of clear and persistent. His eyes saw something very similar to himself. The purest desire and pursuit for fighting. He spoke Russian and English. Start patiently explaining the technical details to you. From that day on, you became Khabib's little sidekick. You are frantically absorbing everything about wrestling and ground techniques. Super God reaction allows you to feel the subtle changes in your opponent's center of gravity more clearly than anyone else. Can anticipate the opponent's intentions earlier. This allows you to make great progress in learning defensive techniques. When suppressed, you can grab a fraction of a second when your opponent changes positions and escape quickly. When you are thrown, you can sense your opponent's power point in advance. Use the fastest speed to make anti-drop movements. Although still young on the offensive end, but on the defensive end, you are building an impregnable line of defense at a terrifying rate. At the same time, Octagon's chief physical trainer has also developed a highly scientific muscle building and strength improvement plan for you. High protein, high carbohydrate, nutritious meals, accurate 2 grams. With heavyweight and high intensity strength training, your 18-year-old body is starting to grow again amazingly. In just 3 months. So, your height has grown to 187 centimeters. The weight has increased to nearly 80 kg. The increase is all about solid and lean muscles. You are no longer that weak bamboo pole. The whole body became symmetrical and full of power. The shoulders widened. The back thickens. One's slender thighs are also full of explosive muscle lines. You have the physique of a top featherweight. This increase in power has brought about a qualitative change in technology. Your punches are precise and have a powerful impact. Your low sweep can make all the players feel numb in their legs. But here's the thing. In a wrestling match, you're no longer the defensive sandbag. You've been able to fend off some welterweight wrestlers by holding them up. Occasionally, he can even complete 1 or 2 surprise falls with the advantage of speed. Won the respect of everyone with sweat and far-reaching efforts. No one in the gym will look down on you anymore. Teammates are willing to stay and practice with you after training. Coach Javier regards you as a treasure of key training. I will often open a small stove for you, feed it yourself, teach tactical concepts. 4 months in the United States, you finally have the opportunity to prove yourself. In the office, Javier took a document from the drawer and handed it to you. It was a competition contract. The organizer of the competition is the abbreviation of Legacy FC, Legacy Fighting Championship. That was it. One of the top regional MMA events in the United States. Known as the UFC Draft Conference. Countless UFC champions have made their mark from here. Your name is clearly printed on the contract. The Flash. Say yes. The Flash. This is a nickname given to you by Coach Javier himself. This nickname is more intuitive than Kung Fu Grade Sync. It is also more in line with international communication. Your opponent is a Mexican-American player named Juan Arcoleta, with 8 wins and 2 losses. With his tenacious fighting spirit and excellent wrestling skills, he is quite famous in regional competitions. Are you ready? Javier asked. This will be your first professional match in the United States. The opponent is a tough one. Not easy to deal with. You look at the unfamiliar name on the contract. There was no tension in his eyes. There was only a beast-like excitement that was about to open the gates. Coach, I've already prepared. Game day is set in Houston, Texas. A month later. This month has become your most intense training month since you arrived in the United States. Okay, the entire coaching team is carefully prepared around the style of your opponent, Juan Arcoleta. They brought in a sparring partner who was similar in style to their opponent, Juan Arcoleta. Day after day, it simulates various situations that may arise in the competition. Juan is a typical wrestler, good at tirelessly using throw to consume opponents. Once on the ground, we'll end the game with punches and naked hangers. This is the ultimate test of your 4 months of training. In the training hall, you should spend at least 2 hours a day dedicated to anti-drop and cage-side attack and defense training. You are held to the barbed wire by your teammates again and again. Learn how to use the iron net to get up, how to get out of control. You're super god. The reaction speed also plays a huge role in the narrow cage space. You can always seize a favorable position one step faster than your opponent, or find an escape gap at the moment when the opponent is exerting force. Your weight is scientifically controlled within the standard line of rainfall levels. Through pre-game dehydration, you can successfully reach the standard of 145 pounds and about 66 kilograms when weighing, and on game day, through the addition of water and nutrients, your on-the-spot weight can quickly return to nearly 78 kg. This puts you in this height of 187 centimeters, under the skeleton with an arm span of 189 centimeters. It has a physical advantage that far exceeds that of players of the same level. The Ryder CFC arena was packed. Javier Mendez himself bandages your hands, with the final tactic in his mouth. He told him to keep moving. Control the distance with your jab. Don't let him get close. Use a low sweep to destroy his center of gravity, drain his leg strength. Keep the game at your pace. If dragged into the ground, don't panic. Remember that we have practiced the get-up technique countless times. You are the lightning. Make the most of your speed advantage. You can win. You close your eyes and nod. Carve every word of the coach into your heart. Then the host introduces your next contestant in a high-pitched voice. He comes from far away in China. It was his professional debut in the continental United States, with lightning speed and ghostly movements. Let's welcome lightning out of the contestant aisle with you. The lights in the stadium were a little dazzling. The crowd's cheers and boos mingled. There's no expression on your face. His eyes were firm and full of murderous intent. Your steps are steady. Walking into the familiar octagonal cage, and his opponent Wang has long been waiting in the cage. When the referee called the two to the center of the field, Wang was staring at you. Provocative with trash talk. Chinese kid, welcome to Texas. I will make you regret setting foot on this land. You didn't respond. The eyes that met his eyes did not evade at all. Instead, it got colder. So, here we go. Huang comes up with a low sweep towards your brace leg, but he kicked empty. Your footsteps are light. A slight retreat was easily dodged. Then, Huang rushed forward, trying to shorten the distance, enter the range where he is best at throwing. Snap, but he was greeted by a lightning-fast left jab. After the crisp sound, Wang's forward momentum is stagnant. A faint red mark was left on his face. Round 1. Wang is like a bull. Keep rushing towards you. I want to be close to you. And you are like a matador. You use flexible movement and distance control. Keep the game firmly in your hands. You keep harassing with jabs, attacking Wang's brace leg with a low sweep leg. Wang's every forward and throw attempt, everything you anticipated, returned, without success. He can't even touch you. The 5-minute round is over. Huang had already received no fewer than 20 jabs in the face. The nosebleeds came out, and his left calf was also red and swollen from your kick. The movement started to lag a little. On the other hand, look at you. Calm down. Not even a breath of air. Round 2. The situation on the field is more one-sided. Decreased stamina. Huan, who was injured in the leg, moved more slowly. There are more and more flaws. You start to increase your attack strength. After dodging Wang's punch, again, you take your chances. Shot a set of smooth combination punches. Hit the door with a straight punch from the back, followed by a left hook. He hit Wang hard in the ribs. Wang let out a muffled snort. His body froze. A huge gap was revealed. He didn't give him any chance to catch his breath. Then a fierce high right sweep kick hit Wang hard on the head. Wang subconsciously raised his hand to block. But it's too late. Your shin kicked firmly between his arm and neck. The huge impact made Wang fall asleep instantly. Fell straight back. It hit the floor mat hard. The referee rushed up quickly. The game was terminated. There is no suspense-free rolling here. The entire stadium exploded. The audience is chanting your nickname Flash. 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 Your gorgeous dodge. Precise strike. And the last stone-shattering high-sweeping kick completely conquered him. You stand in the middle of the octagonal cage. He raised his right hand. You know, from tonight onwards, the American fighting world already has your name. The dominant debut quickly caused an uproar in the MMA community in North America. Major fighting websites such as Shidog and Mamazone all reported the match with headlines. Kong, the mysterious genius lightning from China, made a perfect debut. The man who couldn't be hit, Juan Archuleta, was defenseless in front of him. The highlights of your game are retweeted like crazy on the X. The number of clicks quickly exceeded 1 million. A KS strike while the iron is hot. A second match will be arranged for you soon. The opponent is a jiu-jitsu master, with a record of 6 wins and 1 loss. The ground technology is excellent. Everyone wanted to see how the unsolvable Flash would perform on the ground. However, the result of the game once again shocked everyone. In the first round, the opponent tried 7 throws. All of them were resolved by your fast reaction and powerful anti-drop technology. Failed on the 7th throw, the opponent's center of gravity is unstable. The moment the head is exposed, your arm is wrapped around like a python. The guillotine lasted only 10 seconds. The opponent admitted defeat because of suffocation. Both games were over. Once was a standing KO, once is a ground surrender. You proved to everyone with undisputed performance. You are an all-round fighting genius without any shortcomings. Your terrifying dominance has made the entire regional arena tremble. Such a performance naturally cannot escape the eyes of the UFC. On the 3rd day, after your 2nd game, in Javier Mendez's office, the phone rang. On the other end of the phone was Shang He, UFC's ace matchmaker. Javier, we've seen your Chinese kid. Give him a contract. What do you think? Javier's face showed with a triumphant smile. Of course, Shang. But we demand that the first game be played with a famous figure. Hang up the phone. He broke the news to you who were doing strength training. You put down the barbell in your hand. Accepted the contract that symbolized admission to the world's highest hall. His hand was steady. His heart is also very close. This is all in his plan. Note that the follow-up protagonist is named Sun Shen. He picks up his pen. He signed his name Samsung on the last page of the thick contract. A week later, the UFC officially announced Supernova Flash Sun Shen from China has officially signed with UFC. His debut will be in a Fight Night rematch 3 months from now. The opponent is the UFC featherweight, experienced and tough titan Rick Glenn. Sun Shen looked at the competition poster on his phone with his avatar and UFC logo. He slowly let out a breath. The journey to the top of the world. Now is the real beginning. Signing up for UFC is like dropping a depth bomb on a calm lake. Once the news was announced, it immediately caused an uproar in the domestic fighting circle and sports media. In 2030, China's MMA is still in a relatively wild era. Although a few players have started to try to log into UFC, but most of them are difficult to make a name for themselves in the small women's group or in the men's group. Like Sun Shen, a supernova and a fighting genius, and was given high praise and expectation by the UFC official. It's an unprecedented first. Major domestic sports portals have reprinted the news. Fighting genius, Sun Shen signed UFC. Chinese power-shining octagonal cage kung fu sage is about to make his UFC debut in the United States. The opponent is tough guy Glenn. For the first time, the name Sun Shen has truly entered the domestic public's field of vision. His crude image quality videos of domestic image, and the 2 dominant KO and surrender highlights at Lady CSC. It was turned out by netizens. It has gone viral on major forums and social media. Some people marveled at his incredible movements. Call him the real Matrix. Some people relish his nickname Kung Fu Great Sing. He is credited with justifying the name of traditional Chinese martial arts. Of course, there are also voices of skepticism and pessimism. Don't blow it. I played 2 games in the minor leagues. What level are the opponents? In the monster room of UFC, can his body hold it? Rick Glenn was a tough nut. Experienced and tough rookie killer, I'm afraid this kid's debut is to be told to be human. Regarding the various disturbances in the outside world, Sun Shen, who was in a TA training camp, knew nothing. I don't care. His world consists only of training and upcoming opponents. Rick Glenn was nicknamed the Gladiator. He is a typical Midwestern tough guy. He didn't have fancy technology, no amazing talent, but he has an iron will, excellent fighting ability, and an inexhaustible physical ability. He was playing a very oppressive game. Likes to fight with tireless fist combinations and dragon whips. Drag your opponent into the battle of attrition that he is best at. For any newcomer, this is the hardest bone to crack. Hoffel's coaching team developed a highly targeted preparation plan for Sun Shen. The core is only 2 words accurate. Son, you don't need to fight with him. We can't get into an endless struggle with him. Javier was drawing on the board. Your strengths are speed, responsiveness, and distance. What we're going to do is not knock him down. It's to take it apart. Like a precision surgeon. Oof, destroy its weapon bit by bit with your jab and low sweep. Jab it in the face, affecting its sight and rhythm. Low sweep kicks its support legs, weakens its movement and explosive power. It's like an old but solid tank. All we have to do is one by one, unscrew its screws until it falls apart on its own. That was 3 months. Sun Shengdu is implementing this tactical idea. His training became more detail-oriented, and efficient. He would practice hitting triple, quadruple jabs as he moved. Each punch landed on the same spot as the sparring partner's head target. He would spend the whole hour practicing straight back punches. Timing is accurate to the millisecond. His fitness coach does high-intensity interval training. It took his heart and lungs to a whole new level. Make sure he can support 5 rounds of high-intensity play. Game week Las Vegas. This city of desire, built on the desert. It is also the center of the world's martial arts. When Sun Sheng and his team arrived at the MGM Grand, he felt a very different atmosphere from the regional competition. The UFC logo can be seen everywhere. The world-class celebrities passing by in the corridor. The incessant blinking lights at the press conference. All of this announces that he has come to the world's top stage. At the pre-game press conference, for the first time, Sun Sheng saw his opponent Rick Glenn up close, wearing a t-shirt with his nickname on it. With fierce eyes, the words were filled with disdain for the newcomer. Flash, a ridiculous name. In the octagonal cage, speed won't save you. I would break him as easily as a match. He will regret coming here. He will regret coming here. In the face of provocation, Sun Sheng still didn't say much. When the reporter handed him the microphone, he just said calmly that the game would explain everything. His calm posture was interpreted by some media as a lack of confidence. It also allowed the bookmaker to offer him a less optimistic odds. During the weighing ceremony, they were topless. Glaring seeing Rick Glenn's body is thick and sturdy. The muscles are angular, like an ancient Roman statue of a gladiator. And although Sun Sheng is tall and has an excellent arm span, but the physique does look one size smaller than the opponent. But only he himself knows, under his streamlined muscles, what a terrifying explosive power and reaction speed it contains. On the night of the game, the MGM Grand Garden Arena was ablaze with lights. It was full, as one of the focuses of the night's rematch. The match between Sun Sheng and Rick Glenn was scheduled before the start of the main match. When Sun Sheng walked out of the runner's passage, the boos at the scene clearly outweighed the cheers. For the vast majority of American audiences, he's just a little-known newcomer from China. They prefer to support their local heroes. Sun Sheng stepped into the octagonal cage. Steady steps, steady steps, steady. He habitually stroked the floor mat. Feel this familiar and unfamiliar battlefield. He closes his eyes. Block out all surrounding noise. It seemed as if only he and the enemy were left in the entire world. After the referee explained the simple rules, the two returned to their respective corners. When the first round bell rang crisp, Rick Glenn did not have the slightest temptation. Like an angry bull, he rushed over with a low roar. He waved his fists. A set of unreasonable combination punches headed towards Sun Sheng. His strategy was clear. It is to use your own powerful oppression and strength. It destroyed the newcomer's confidence at the outset. However, he broke Sun Sheng's footsteps, like fairies dancing on the ice. Glenn's heavy fist landed in the empty space with a light side. Then, at the moment when Glenn's old strength was exhausted and his new strength was not born, Sun Sheng's lightning-fast left jab accurately hit the bridge of his nose. With a crisp sound, Glenn's forward momentum was sluggish. So what happens next? A perfect replica of the tactical drills in auto training camp. Sun Sheng turned into a calm and cruel hunter. He always maintained a distance that made Glenn feel extremely uncomfortable. He continued to dismantle Glenn with jabs and low sweeps. Gene is like a beast trapped in a cage, empty with brute force. But he was still unable to touch that slippery opponent. Every time he dashes, both will be interrupted by a precise jab. Every time he punches, they would all be dodged by Sun Sheng by a tiny margin. At his legs, then under Sun Sheng's tricky low sweep again and again, there began to be pains. The audience in the audience cheered for Glenn from the beginning. It gradually became quiet. They were dumbfounded. They had never seen such gorgeous and efficient distance control. That Chinese kid is like a player with a god perspective. All of Gene's movements. It seemed as if everything was within his expectations. At the 4th minute of the round, Rick Glenn became a little impatient. His physical strength also began to decline due to the constant empty punches. He roared, made a desperate decision. He gave up boxing, a tick, and he dives. Trying to drag Sun Sheng to the ground with his equally outstanding wrestling, this is the opportunity. Javier could see clearly from the sidelines. Sun Sheng was waiting for this moment. The moment Glenn's head was exposed, Sun Sheng's body did not retreat. Instead, he took a small step forward against his opponent. His left leg serves as support. The right knee is like a loaded cannonball. He suddenly lifted up an earth-shattering flying knee. This flying knee. The timing is perfect to the extreme. It was Glenn who dived to the lowest point, the moment the field of vision was completely obscured. Bang! There was a loud, heart-pounding sound. Sun Sheng's knee firmly hit Rick Ren's chin and face. The huge impact made Glenn's body feel as if he had been hit by a high-speed truck. His body instantly stiffened. Both eyes lost focus. The whole person flew straight back. There was a brief arc in the air. Behind the line, he was like a hacked steak. And boom, it fell heavily on the floor mat, stirred up a cloud of dust, not moving. KO. A devastating flying knee that is enough to be included in the best highlights of the year. The entire MGM Grand Gardens arena fell into absolute silence for 3 seconds. Everyone was stunned by this sudden, bloody, and violent scene. Immediately after, the tsunami-like exclamations and shouts were like volcanic eruptions, instantly swept the entire venue. Oh my god. Killing of the year. WTF did I just see? The referee rushed up quickly. He waved directly and ended the game, and immediately called the healthcare workers on the sidelines. Sun Sheng stood in the center of the octagonal cage. He slowly raised his right hand. He glanced at his opponent, who was lying motionless on the ground. There was no waves in the ancient well in his eyes. So this is UFC, one that can make you famous. A cruel stage that can also make you fail miserably. That night, Sun Sheng's name resounded throughout Las Vegas. He not only won the game, and because of the shock, KO received an additional $50,000 best performance bonus at the press conference after the game. All the media attention was focused on the flash from China. Dana Bai, president of UFC, was not stingy with his praise. This kid is a real genius. His reaction speed is the most incredible I have ever seen. He has all the potential to become a superstar. Tonight, a star is flashing in Las Vegas. He announced his arrival to the world with a perfect UFC debut. A shocking KO is like the most powerful booster, Wu Shengzi. Pick up and drop off on the fast track of UFC featherweight. When he flew back to San Jose from Las Vegas, he could clearly feel everything around him changing. At the airport, some boxing fans recognized him. He rushed up excitedly to ask for autographs and group photos, shouting Flash with excitement. The Flash. Back to a TA. What greeted him was no longer just a friendly greeting from his teammates. It was a look of awe and recognition on the whiteboard in Coach Javier's office that recorded the records of professional team members. Sun Sheng's name was heavily painted with a bright red W. There is also a line of small characters next to Kill of the Night. Add $50,000. The joy of victory lasted less than 24 hours. Sun Sheng took the initiative to snuff it out. The first thing he did when he locked himself in his apartment was not to celebrate. I turned on my laptop, logged into several crypto exchanges and an offshore securities account. The numbers on the screen are far more thrilling than the $50,000 bonus. Thanks to Bitcoin's first epic bull market in 2013, the cheap chips he exchanged for millions of yuan at the beginning, it has now increased dozens of times. The total value quietly exceeded the $10 million mark. And several of his diversified technology stocks have also grown steadily under the wave of mobile internet. For him, the prize money at UFC is more like a badge of honor, a recognition from the fighting world. And his huge wealth accumulated quietly. This was the true confidence that allowed him to pursue peak fighting without distractions. He didn't have to play meaningless games for a living. You don't have to change your style to please sponsors. He can invest everything in his dream purely and regardless of the cost. It's a luxury of freedom. It is also one of the greatest advantages that rebirth brings him. He transferred some of the funds into a new account. A trust fund was established. Whoa. The beneficiaries are his parents back home. He didn't tell them the exact amount, just made a phone call. Tell them calmly, you don't have to worry about money anymore. You can retire early, go and do whatever they want. Zhou Hui on the other end of the phone sobbed excitedly. Sung Jianjin used his customary calm tone. Next to him, repeatedly told to pay attention to safety. Don't get hurt, just have enough money. Don't go the wrong way. Hang up the phone. A warm current surged in Sun Sheng's heart. Provide the best life for your family. This feeling satisfied him far more than the numbers in the account. In the dead of night, in an apartment in San Jose, Sun Sheng closed his laptop. The string of numbers on the screen represents tens of millions of dollars in wealth, along with the newly established trust fund for parents.
They were locked into the deepest part of his consciousness together. This warm stream of satisfaction, it was the most solid backing on his journey. But he knew, from this moment on, he must once again become that ruthless, focused, and victory-hungry fighting machine. The joy of victory is like a high-calorie meal. You can taste it occasionally, but never indulge. Excessive satisfaction breeds complacency. And complacency is the deadliest poison in the top arena. He didn't rest right away. Instead, the video of that game was turned on again. This time, he wasn't looking at himself. It was the reaction of Joe Rogan and the commentators in the commentary. He turned up the volume. Force yourself to listen to comments made from a third-party perspective. Sun's sense of distance is simply incredible. And Jin was like a minotaur, trapped in a maze. Never find an opponent. Watch his footsteps. Light and efficient. Light and efficient. There's almost no movement. This is a master performance. But we also have to see. Jin's wrestling threat is not top-notch. If you're facing Mendez or Edgar, can such a wrestling master Sun maintain such elegance? I have reservations. The analysis of each sentence is like a scalpel, analyzing his strengths and weaknesses. Sun Sheng listened, expressionlessly, automatically filtered those words of praise. Carve only dealt some questions into your mind. Wrestling, he repeated the word softly. This was the pain of his past life. It is also the mountain that he must conquer in this life. He opened an encrypted document. Write down tonight's review summary, analysis in it. KO is wonderful. But this is an opportunity given to me by my opponent's mistake. If he doesn't dive recklessly, the game will drag on longer. There was a noticeable fluctuation in my fitness allocation in the 4th minute. After the heart rate instantly soared, the recovery speed was 0.3 seconds slower than expected. This will not work. In the face of a true champion, any fluctuation is a dead end. The power of the low sweep is enough, but the recovery leg defense is flawed. The accuracy of the jab is qualified, but there is a lack of change. The next stage of training focuses 1. Wrestling attack and defense conversion. 2. Cardiopulmonary function limit. Endurance. 3. The rhythm change of combination boxing. He wrote the last word. A new and more rigorous training plan had taken shape in his mind. One morning a few days later, when Sun Sheng stepped into the 88 training hall again, the aura of victory had vanished from him. In its place is a more reserved and dangerous focus. He was greeted with a unique welcome ceremony as he warmed up. Daniel Cormier DC, Hunter Didi, came over like a happy brown bear. The fan-like hand patted his shoulder heavily. The strength made him stumble. Hey, Flash Boy, $50,000 in bonuses. Isn't it time to treat the whole team to a meal? DC winked and joked, but then reshoot. As congratulations. It's also kind of your kid. You're still far from it. The disgrace. Sun Sheng stabilized his figure and smiled. Just about to speak. Coach Javier, who was not far away, spoke. He had a tactical board in his hand. Said DC, without looking up. Don't think about it. This kid's money has been spent on the first night. DC was stunned. Curiously leaned over and spent it. So soon? Boy, did you go to a casino in Las Vegas? That's not a good habit. That's not a good habit. Sun Sheng had not had time to explain. Javier looked up. He looked at DC with a half smile. He didn't go to the casino. He just shoved me $20,000 in cash. It is said to be part of the team's money. I told him not to use so much. This kid has to insist. As soon as this sentence comes out, several players in the training hall, who were stretching, stopped their movements. He looked over in surprise. It's customary to give 10 to 20% of the bonus to the team. But that was after deducting various taxes and expenses. As soon as Sun Sheng got the check, he directly took out nearly half of the pre-tax bonus to the team. It is rare, especially for a newcomer like him. This is definitely a huge sum of money. It's not just money, it is more of an attitude and respect. The joke on DC's face was somewhat restrained. He looked Sun Sheng up and down. His eyes became somewhat different, and he stepped forward. No more joking remakes. But like a real big brother, he rubbed Sun Sheng's hair vigorously in a deep voice. Boy, nice job. Not just on the field. Off the field as well. Sun Sheng was not used to this intimacy, but still nodded. Then he said to the DC, so the money for the DC treat is gone. But next time, I hope to use the money I win to pay for your treatment. This counterattack with confidence and concern made DC completely stunned. Then a heartier, more heartfelt laugh broke out than before. Good boy, I'll wait. America also needs sophistication. Sun Sheng's generosity. Let him be in the world of tough guys who value strength and rules. Earned true respect for something more important than the kite, and in the subsequent training, Sun Sheng obviously felt a little different. Although Habib, Benor, and Magandard said nothing, only in group practice, he walked directly towards Sun Sheng. It has no language, only the purest physical confrontation. Habib's sense of oppression is more terrifying than ever. He was like a moving web of muscle and will, ruthlessly covered Sun Sheng. Every time I get close, every fight, even Sun Sheng could feel the suffocating power, as if to crush his bones. In another intense attack and defense transition, Sun Sheng seized a fleeting opportunity with his supernatural reaction, just about to escape Habib's lateral suppression. But Habib twists his body at an incredible angle. She clamped her shoulders tightly around his neck. At the same time, his legs locked his body like iron pliers. In an instant, Sun Sheng was dragged into the abyss again. After the training, when Sun Sheng lay on the floor, Matt, when the lungs whistle like bellows, he didn't complain. He struggled to get up and walked up to Habib, asked, while panting heavily, "How did you anticipate my direction of movement?" Habib looked at his eyes that were bloodshot from lack of oxygen, but still flashed with curiosity. For the first time, I really saw him as one of my kind. An ascetic who also has the ultimate pursuit of fighting. Your body will lie, but your center of gravity won't. Habib briefly explained the technical detail in his trademark Dagestani accent. From that day on, the relationship between the two has undergone subtle changes. They were no longer just teammates, more like a brother who is also a teacher and a friend. Every day after the training of the large army, they all stay on the mat for an extra hour. One uses his invincible standing skills to help Khabib make up for his shortcomings. The other one imparted his unique skills of Dagestan wrestling to the other party without reservation. Reintegrate yourself into it. After the iron blood furnace of tea, Sun Sheng began his second step of planning to form a winning team. He made an appointment with a Chinese sports lawyer named David Chun. In the cafe, Sun Sheng calmly stirred the coffee, showed his shrewd business elite his business acumen beyond his years. "David, I need you. But it's not just about reviewing contracts." Sun Sheng said, "I want you to use the Flash IP as the core. Build a commercial version for me. I need to register my own trademark, screen the most promising sponsorship brands, and handle all media and legal matters for me. So, in a nutshell, in addition to training and competition, everything else is your responsibility." I look at this person in front of me, who is only 18 years old, but young people with such clear and ambitious plans for their future. David Chung's eyes were full of shock and excitement after pushing the lenses of his gold-rimmed glasses. He knew that he was following the right person. The prototype of the Holy Team Shin officially set sail at this moment. Then, Sun Sheng found Coach Hoff, made the offer that surprised him, personally contributing $300,000. Upgrade a set of top-level rehabilitation physiotherapy equipment for the boxing gym. Coach Ota is my home. The strength of the team is my personal strength. Kane's knee, PC's back, need the best physiotherapy. This is good for all of us. As I looked at the sincere face of his disciple, my heart was filled with emotion. This Chinese kid is winning everyone's heart in his own way. Sun Sheng's life has entered an extreme Spartan mode. It's 5 in the morning, when the streets of San Jose were still shrouded in mist. He has started a 10-kilometer aerobic run. His figure is like a silent ghost, walking through the silent streets. Back to the small apartment. He will use an electronic scale to accurately weigh 120 grams of chicken breast, 150 grams of broccoli, and 80 grams of brown rice. Prepare your first nutritious meal of the day. Every number had been rigorously calculated by a nutritionist. Mornings were hellish wrestling and jiu-jitsu classes. He was tortured by Habib, challenging the limits of the body again and again. In the afternoon, it was a carefully crafted standing strike training. He will spend a whole hour specialized in practicing 3-shot, 4-shot jabs on the move. Each punch landed on the same spot as the sparring partners had targeted. At night, when everyone has left, he will also practice alone in the strength room for an additional hour. Before bed, he doesn't play with his phone. Instead, I will turn on the TV and watch an American drama without any subtitles. Force yourself to immerse yourself in an English-speaking environment. Exercising your listening skills is also the only way to relax during the day. He was in a foreign land. Although there are teammates, but cultural barriers and language barriers made him lonely deep down. But he did not reject this loneliness. Instead, consider the whetstone. Loneliness makes me more focused, away from the hustle and bustle. Only then can you hear the voice of your own soul. In my previous life, I lost to an injury. It lost to the impatience and temptation after becoming famous. I will not make the same mistake again in this life. Every step I take must be as solid as a rock. While he was immersed in his cultivation, undercurrents from the outside world began to flood. The head of the priesthood team, David Chun, gave him an exclusive interview with the ESPN's fighting show, MMA Hour. Video connection. Video connection. Host Stereo held Wani through the pointed question to Sun. Your UFC debut was perfect. But now the whole featherweight is talking about your ground skills. Do you consider this to be your weakness? Sun Sheng replied calmly to the camera. Any technology has room for improvement. I came here to train with the best wrestlers in the world, turning my so-called weakness into my new weapon. Heart is not reckless. Wisdom is the most powerful weapon in combat. This interview allowed North American audiences to see for the first time the wisdom and confidence of this Oriental teenager under his calm exterior. The image of an intelligent fighter began to take root in him. At the same time, social media, the hungry wolves began to smell blood. Dennis Bermudez, the 12th-ranked wrestling maniac, retweeted Sun Sheng's interview video and commented that it was nice to say, "I hope your anti-drop is as hard as your mouth." Famous heavy gunner Jeremy Stevens even sent a direct tweet at Sun Sheng, "Fancy boy, don't hide behind. Do you dare to have a real man duel with me?" Just as all kinds of speculation were rampant, UFC matchmaker Sean Shelby called Javier's office. "Javier, your Chinese boy is very kind. Since he longs for the test, we'll just give him the most special Camilla spider." "How about it? The joint main game of the next UFC fight night." Javier's eyes narrowed. He knew too well what the name Cole Miller meant. That's not an opponent who can make you score, but a real troublemaker. He is tall and arm long. Ground technology is a spider's web of despair. UFC, this move is extremely sinister. They were going to use the toughest spider web to test the Flash's true colors. This is the most direct and brutal response to Sun Sheng's previous welcome test remarks. Javier knew there is no room for maneuver. If you refuse, you will be labeled as cowardly. When Hoffel broke the news to Sun Sheng, he thought he would see the solemn expression on the disciple's face. However, Sun Sheng's reaction was beyond his expectations. He wasn't nervous at all. Instead, there was an excited glow in the eyes of a hunter when he saw his prey. It's good to only say 2 words. Once the news was announced, there was an uproar. Most people think the UFC is deliberately suppressing newcomers. I want to see Sun Sheng making a fool of himself. Cole Miller himself added fuel to the fire, and he came out with this wild spiderweb manifesto in an interview. Lightning is cool, but he couldn't spit a carefully woven spiderweb. I will drag him into my world. Let him feel what true despair is. Then he broke his limbs. This ferocious declaration was like a spark of fire, completely ignited the fighting spirit in Sun Sheng's heart. The shadow of the past life is the ground. He wasn't scared. Instead, he felt an unprecedented desire to step on his fate. I was born again. I was born again, not to escape weakness, just to crush it. This night, a TA's tactical analysis room was brightly lit. Cole Miller's match was played back and forth on the huge screen. Hoffel, DC, Habib, and Sun Sheng sat together. The atmosphere was solemn and focused. "Look here," Javier points the laser pointer at the screen. "Miller's combat power is very deceptive. He didn't punch to hit you hard, but to shorten the distance, create opportunities for his throw. His jab was the tentacle he wrapped around it." DC touched his chin and said in a deep voice, "His core strength is not strong. Pure wrestling was not his fault, but he was very cunning. It is good at destroying the opponent's center of gravity in a dogfight. Once you fall to the ground, and he leaped." On the screen, Miller entangled his opponent like a maggot attached to bone. The body is like a snake, without bones. A triangle was arranged at an extremely strange angle. The opponent struggled for a moment in astonishment. He painfully patted the pad and admitted defeat. "Yes, he is a snake." Habib opened his mouth coldly. His eyes were as sharp as an eagle. His technique was unorthodox, but it worked. Watch his crotch. All of his surrender techniques are based on the flexible rotation of the crotch, as long as you can control him. His spiderweb broke in half. Sun Sheng said nothing, but his brain was running at high speed. His supernatural reflexes allow him to capture Miller's every subtle habit in slow motion. He found that 0.5 seconds before Miller cast the triangle, there is always a habitual slight pause to adjust the body's center of gravity. This pause is fleeting for the average player, but for him, like a lighthouse in the darkness. Clearly visible, "I have an idea." Sun Sheng finally spoke, broke the silence. He went to the tactical board. Pick up a pen and draw a simple. All of Miller's attacks were based on the premise that his opponent feared his ground. So if I'm at the moment he least expects it, take the initiative to issue a ground threat to him. This bold idea stung both Javier and DC with his own shortcoming, attacking the enemy. It's too risky, but Habib's eyes flashed with gold. He seemed to understand what Sun Sheng meant. You mean, when he was diving? He nodded to Sun Sheng. Sneak and fall under him. The moment the head and neck are fully exposed, I'm not drop-proof. Instead, take his neck. An earth-shattering tactical prototype exploded in everyone's hearts. Stand up for the guillotine from that day on. The direction of ATA's preparations instantly became extremely clear and cruel. Habib became Sun Sheng's exclusive torturer. He is no longer just a sparring partner. Instead, he turned into a version of the ultimate spider that was stronger, tougher, and more skilled than He studied all of Miller's game footage, with greater strength and skill than Miller. During the training, all possible ground attack routines were simulated. The wrestling mat in the training hall became Sun Sheng's purgatory. He was dragged into the suffocating triangle again and again, black before my eyes. The air in the lungs is gradually drained. The feeling of powerlessness and fear from his previous life repeatedly attacked his nerves like a ghost. For a moment, he even had the idea of giving up. I want to shoot and surrender. End this endless torment. But whenever this happens, his mind would float. I showed myself lying in the hospital bed in my previous life. And Cole Miller's wild face in the media. No. He roared in his heart. He gritted his teeth. Force yourself to calm down. Feeling every change in his body on the edge of suffocation. His supernatural reaction reached its peak at this moment. He was no longer struggling by instinct. Instead, he began anticipating the direction of Khabib's force. Look for that few tenths of a second of slack. Bang! During a training session, just before Khabib's triangle was about to lock. Sun Sheng caught the tiny pulse he had counted countless times. Twisting the body at an unconventional angle, shoulder strength. Forcefully destroyed the angle of the strangulation at the moment of locking. He succeeded, although embarrassed. But for the first time, from Habib's spider sweat, escaped with technology and anticipation. There was a flash of surprise in Habib's eyes. Then came a stronger fighting spirit. He knew that this kid in front of him, it is evolving at a terrifying rate. And that secret weapon stands the guillotine. It was carried out in secret after the daily training. DC will imitate the clumsy collision of the opponent. Habib simulates the most cunning die, what Sun Sheng wants to do. It is at various angles and distances. Hit their necks with the fastest speed and the most stable posture. His arms were worn red. His neck was also bruised from the sparring partner's count. But the light in his eyes was getting brighter and brighter. At the same time, the backstage of the Holy Team was also running at high speed. Davidson demonstrated the value of his gold medal loyalty. On the one hand, he contacted ESPN and other mainstream media to publish positive reports on Sun Sheng's preparations, create an image of him as hardworking, intelligent, and fearless, to hedge against Miller's negative remarks. On the other hand, he has already taken the collection of Sun Sheng's debut, began initial contacts with Under Armour and an energy drink company called Monster Energy, paved the way for Sun Sheng's commercial value. And the new nutritionist, Mary, became Sun Sheng's sweet devil. His recipes are accurate to the gram. All food is boiled or steamed. There is no extra seasoning. As DC and Kane enjoy pizza and burgers after training, Sun Sheng could only silently chew on his boiled chicken breast and broccoli. The ultimate self-discipline. Let these battle-hardened champions be moved in the dead of night. In the dead of night, when exhaustion strikes, the demons will always come quietly. Sun Sheng was lying on the bed, after being subdued by an opponent in a previous life. The disappointed eyes of the audience, and the feeling of powerlessness lying on the mat, will come flooding in like a tide. He did not choose to escape. I sat up, and I meditated. He visualized that fear. Imagine a giant sticky spiderweb, and there he is standing in the middle. He stopped struggling. It's about observing, to analyze every structure of the network, every knot. Gradually, fear turned into peace. Calm becomes strength. He calmly said to the net in his heart, "You can't trap me. Game day is approaching. The preparations have entered the final sprint stage. The priesthood is already an efficient machine. Javier was in charge of tactics. DC and Khabib are in charge of actual combat. David Chun takes care of all off-site affairs. Dietitian Mary provides fuel for his body. They are about to board a plane to the next competition city, Atlanta." The plane broke through the clouds. Sun Sheng looked at the endless blue sky outside the window, an unprecedented peace of mind. Zhou's hellish preparations. He not only took his ground technology to a whole new level, but here's the thing. He personally cut off the one named Fear. He knew the demons. This battle is not just for victory. It is to make a complete break with the past self. He was going to take a walk in the spiderweb of despair, then tear it to shreds with your own hands. After landing, a very different air from California was like a thin blanket of damp heat. In an instant, it wrapped Sunshing's whole body. The air was mixed with the smell of southern plants and the faint smell of earth after rain. It was thick and sticky. It creates a strong sensory contrast with the dry and crisp sunshine of San Jose. Sunshine subconsciously took a deep breath, trying to adapt the lungs to this new environment. Every away game, adaptation to the environment itself is intangible. Round 1. The black Cadillac officially dispatched by the UFC has long been waiting outside the VIP channel. The doors opened. The cold air is coming. Temporarily isolated from the outside heat and humidity, the driver was a taciturn black man. He checked the information with David Chung and started the car smoothly. This war machine, which Sun Sheng dubbed the Victory Team, he officially began his invasion of the city. Inside the car, Wei Chun skillfully opened his tablet. Distribute ready-made electronic documents to everyone's mobile phones. This is the detailed schedule for the next 72 hours, accurate to the minute. His voice is clear and organized. The time and place of media days, public training, weighing ceremonies, as well as our special car transfer information. It is all available. I have confirmed with the hotel that Sun Sheng's non-interference floor. Mary's menu has also been sent to the hotel's executive chef. They guarantee 100% compliance. Efficiency is the first trait exhibited by this fledgling team. Coach Javier nodded in satisfaction. He leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. But the fretting eyelids revealed that his brain was still working at high speed, deducing every possible variable in the game. DC and Habib are more relaxed. They are pointing out the window at the lush cityscape and red brick buildings that are different from the West Coast, using whispered conversations to adjust the atmosphere before the war. Sun Sheng did not participate in their discussions. His eyes were fixed on the scenery passing by quickly outside the window, but the line of sight is not focused. His thoughts had already drifted to the octagonal cage a few days later. The name Carl Miller is like a ghost. He has been everywhere in his training for the past 8 weeks. He knew that the significance of this game was far more than just striving for a victory. It was a decisive battle between him and the demons in his previous life. He came back from the dead. You can rely on the experience of your past life and the talent of this life to kill all directions in the field of combat power. But he knew deep down, if we don't cross the hurdle of ground technology, he will always be just a strong man with a fatal flaw. You will never be able to reach that supreme throne. The Marriott Hotel where the contestants are staying is now like a heavily guarded military base. The air in the lobby seemed to have been pumped into a semi-vacuum, filled with invisible pressure. There are strong, sharp-eyed players everywhere. Most of them were pale, chapped lips. It is in the final stages of brutal weight loss. The coaches and team members around them all look serious, like a group of engineers guarding flammable and explosive materials. The footsteps are in a hurry, talk in low voices. There's no fanfare without the laughter of tourists, only the almost frozen tension of top athletes before the peak of the competition. After everything is settled, the team split up immediately. Dietitian Mary took his professional equipment and went straight to the back kitchen of the hotel. He wants to watch the chef process every ingredient with his own eyes. Make sure every gram of protein and carbohydrate meets his diabolical diet. Javier took an electromagnetic shield and inspected it carefully. After confirming that Sun Sheng's room was free of any eavesdropping or camera equipment, only then did he close the heavy blackout curtains. Isolate all light and sound from the outside world. Have a good rest. He patted Sun Sheng on the shoulder. From now on, you only need yourself and Miller in your world. The next day's media day was the last battle before the war broke out. In the huge conference hall, the long guns and short cannons of hundreds of media have long been ready. The flashlights are like the stars on a summer night, dazzling people. Sun Sheng and Cole Miller were deliberately arranged in the adjacent interview area by the organizers. It's only a few meters away. They could even smell the faint odor of acetone from each other's weight loss. Miller is clearly the protagonist of this media extravaganza. As a local player, he enjoyed the treatment of the reporters. He danced, talking to the camera, continued to play the role of his spider master. I have my web ready. A web of despair specially made for lightning. In an exaggerated and confident aria, he said, "You see, that kid from China," he pointed in Sun Sheng's direction, with his chin contemptuously. He didn't even dare to look me in the eye. I could smell the fear in him. It's like a rabbit smelling a fox. He was afraid of being dragged into deep water, afraid of my damn jujutsu. I would treat it like every self-righteous newcomer to the combat power department in the past. Slowly and elegantly suffocate him. Let him admit defeat. His words elicited a burst of laughter and more flashing lights. Journalists have a sense of smell as acute as a shark smells blood. They immediately pointed the microphone and camera at Sun Shen. Sam Miller said, "You were afraid of his ground skills. This is your greatest weakness. Do you agree?" A reporter from ESPN asked loudly. There was no extra expression on Sun Shen's face. He sat there quietly. It was as if Miller's words had nothing to do with him. He could sense the deliberate inflammatory malice in Miller's words. I also understand that this is part of the opponent's psychological warfare. In a previous life, he might have been angry about it, would be eager to defend, so as to fall into the rhythm of the other party. But now his heart is like a mirror. He slowly picked up the microphone in front of him. His gaze calmly swept over every reporter present. Those eyes are deep and quiet. The noisy scene involuntarily quieted down a bit. Then he spoke slowly in a more fluent and clear English than he had in the previous interview. A spider is safe only in its web. And that's true. He uses his net to catch food, to defend, to survive. He paused. It gave everybody time to think. Then the conversation changed. But here's the thing. Why should I walk into a web that I can easily shred? My goal is not to get tangled in a spider's web. But when it doesn't perceive danger, just shoot it down like a real lightning bolt from the cloudless sky. It's not loud, but it was powerful. These words are calm and wise. It is also full of strong confidence. He did not directly refute Miller's provocation, but the pattern of the problem is changed from the ground where you are afraid of me. Instantly ascend to a dimension where I don't even bother to play with you on the ground. The reporters were stunned. They had expected to see a young man's nervousness or anger. But I didn't expect to get a dimensionality reduction blow from a top strategist. The smile on Gorn Miller's face also appeared a little stiff at this moment. The next public training session, it is to reduce this psychological game to the extreme, under the gaze of thousands of local boxing fans. Coach Javier deliberately only arranged pure standing strike training for Sun Shen. Sun Shen's figure flickered and moved on the training table. Boxing is like a rainstorm of pear blossoms. Legs are like the wind sweeping leaves. Every attack carried the sound of tearing the air. He's practiced with a sparring partner. The speed is so fast that people can only see a series of that gorgeous and deadly strike technology caused the scene to exclaim, one after another. But he didn't demonstrate a single drop or ground move, perfectly hiding the team's true tactics under this dazzling light. It deepened the impression that he only knew how to fight. Here Miller, on the other hand, did the opposite. He almost turned public training into his personal jiu-jitsu class. He showed off all kinds of fancy surrender skills with sparring partners on the mat. He continued to show viewers and the media how easily he laid out triangles and crosses. He even deliberately slowed down his movements to explain the essentials to the boxing fans. This ostentation further strengthened his image as a groundmaster. After the training, in the narrow corridor leading backstage, an unexpected incident occurred. Sun Shen approached an equally young, tall and thin Hawaiian player with deformed ears. The man was wearing a t-shirt with the handwritten T-Blast on it. There was a trace of calmness and eye-catching sharpness in his eyes that did not match his age. Max Holloway, the future featherweight, immortal legend. At this moment, there is only one ranked outside the 10th place, but a rising star has emerged at UFC with terrifying strike frequency and tenacious perseverance. Neither of them said a word, but they stopped almost at the same time. Space seemed to freeze at this moment. There was a hint of pure curiosity and hidden fighting intent in Holloway's eyes. He was like a top gunner evaluating another new legendary gunner, and Sun Shen will look at him calmly and deeply. He saw something in Holloway's eyes that was his own, the purest hunger for victory, and the kind of determination that would give anything for it. After a second, the two were almost inconspicuous at the same time. He nodded. Then they passed each other by, without a word. This is a mutual recognition between top predators that transcends language. A silent face. But it seems that the first and most important species has been buried for the future fateful showdown. The final weighing ceremony. It was the last boom before the war. Under the control of nutritionist Mary's drinking water accurate to Sun Shen steamed the last bit of excess water in his body in the sauna. When he stepped on the scale, the The pointer stopped firmly at 146 pounds. The terrifying muscular lines of an ancient Greek sculpture with low body fat percentage, clearly visible under the harsh lighting of the scene. There was another explosion of flashlights. Miller also weighed in smoothly. In the eye-to-eye session at the end of the ceremony, with a grimace on his face, almost pressed his face to Sunshang's face. With fierce eyes, with a voice that only two people can hear, whispering boy as vicious as a venomous snake spitting letters. Are you ready to choke on the floor? I promise it will be the longest minute of your life. I will make you remember my name. Sunshang was expressionless. There is no waves in the eyes of the ancient well. It feels as if you are looking at an object that has nothing to do with you. Images of past and present lives flashed through my mind. The humiliation of being surrendered, the unwillingness to lie on the hospital bed. At this moment, it turned into absolute calm. He also replied in a very low voice, "Don't blink, because you will miss everything." This extreme seems to come from the calmness and indifference in the depths of the eye sheet. Like an invisible ice pick, it pierced the ferocious aura that Miller deliberately created. For the first time, he really felt a hard palpitation from his heart. Standing between the two UFC, President Biden was so excited that he almost rubbed his hands together. He knew that the spear and shield, the duel, all the groundwork has been completed. Only the final detonation remains. On the night of the game, the Phillips Arena was already full of people. It was full. Sunshang sat in a quiet dressing room. Javier was bandaging his hands. Round and round. Correct, gentle and focused movements. Like a craftsman, preparing the most delicate instruments. DC is behind him, with his big fan-like hands, with a unique rhythm, massaging his shoulder and back muscles. Whispering in his ear that you are the storm, kid. You are the fucking lightning. You are the storm. Child, you are that damn lightning bolt. And Habib is like a silent stone statue, sitting in the corner. He was holding his iconic Dagestan white hat, quietly wiping. At the last moment of the end of the entanglement, he walked up to Sunshang. She gently placed the hat on his head. Then he punched Sunshang's chest with his fist. To show them everything, he said in heavily accented Russian. Brother! Sunshang could clearly hear the tsunami-like cheers coming from outside the stadium. Most of them were boos and shouts cheering for Carl Miller, who was fighting for home. Son, it's time. It's time. Son is here for you. A UFC staff member knocked on the door, said softly. Sunshang suddenly opened his eyes. There was no more ripple in those eyes. Only absolute focus and cold-killing intent remained. He stood up. I moved my joints. It made a crisp explosion. Javier, DC, and Habib also stood up at the same time, surrounded him. Like a courtier escorting a king to the throne, walked towards the glorious passage of light and darkness that leads to the octagonal dragon. The light in the passage is dim. Only a row of floor lamps at his feet guided the way. At the end, the incomparably bright light source, divided by the octagonal cage iron net. Like a portal to another world. A tsunami-like noise poured in from that entrance, mixed with passionate live music, audience shouts, and the huge undisguised boos directed at Sunshang. For tens of thousands of Atlanta viewers, he was an uninvited guest. One came to challenge their native hero. The entrance music of the villain Sunshang sounded. It's not rock and roll. It's not raucous hip-hop either. It is a very rhythmic Yangon Express. He's got his head down. I can't see the expression clearly. Following in the footsteps of the team, step by step, he calmly walked towards the battlefield that decided his fate. With every step, he could feel the faint vibration of the floor beneath his feet. With every breath, he could smell the unique scent of fighting in the air, mingled with sweat, disinfectant, and popcorn. His heartbeat was steady and strong. It's like a sophisticated metronome. His past life experience told him that, the more this moment, the more you want to block all distractions. In his world, now there is only breathing and footsteps. And the opponent in front of him, who was about to fight him to the death, when he stepped into the octagonal cage. Take off your coat. When revealing the lean muscles without a trace of fat, the boos at the scene reached their peak.